Yep.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome to this special edition of Conversations with Cubit. I'm super excited about tonight's conversation. Why? It's because we just happened to catch up with an old friend who happens to be in the middle of traveling the country promoting a new movie, in which he happens to be the executive producer. So we thought we would grab this opportunity and sit down with him and talk a little bit about that. More about that in a few minutes. First, let me thank you for supporting these weekly conversations. Your continued support is very important to us. So supporting these conversations is very, very easy. All you have to do is hit the share button. It's that simple. That's right. I want you to hit the share button right now. Don't let your community miss out on these important conversations. Also, your feedback is not only welcomed, it is encouraged. So hit the like button and please comment during and after the broadcast. Feel free to send me inbox messages with your comments and your concerns or ideas that you have or people that we ought to have on the show. We are now uploading all of the past conversations and all of these new conversations to YouTube based on the feedback we got from inbox messages. So be sure to go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just look up Conversations with Cubit on YouTube. It's that simple. Now I have to give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to the Superintendent of Millwood Public Schools, Miss Cecilia Robinson Woods, for hosting tonight's conversation. We are in the new multi-sport complex and it is beautiful. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a minute. And if you follow me at all, you know how much I love Millwood, and anytime I have the opportunity to connect with this place, I jump on it. I also have to give Green Pasture Studios out in Spencer, Oklahoma a shout out for hosting our weekly broadcast and giving us a great place to call home. Do yourself a big favor and look up Green Pasture Studios and see everything that they got going out there in Spencer, Oklahoma. It's pretty cool. You'll be glad you did. As you know, I only have 3 simple goals for these conversations. One is to add value to people and to my community. 2, I want to inspire you to believe in what people can become and communities can become when we're willing to work together. And number 3, last but not least, is love people, period. No strings attached. All this means is that I want you to be inspired. I want you to get useful information and resources, and I want to celebrate individuals, groups, and organizations who are making a positive impact on our community. Every conversation here on Conversations with Cubit will be about information, inspiration, and hope. Now, let me introduce you to my very special guest. He and I have known each other. We have known each other maybe 40 years. Golly, I hate to say that number, but I don't even know how that's possible. But it's possible because we certainly don't look that old at all. I'm telling you. That's possible because we both went to middle school and high school together here at Millwood. A lot has changed since then, but for the last 20 years, few individuals in the entertainment industry have been more innovative and resourceful than this veteran producer named Melvin Childs. Yes, my friend Melvin Childs is here with me tonight. Melvin is known for a critical eye in spotting new talent. In fact, he was the executive producer for Tyler Perry's first national tours. Might have to ask a question about that, but maybe not. I don't know. But it was Childs' willingness to gamble on that unknown playwright that led to Perry's emerging as one of Hollywood's biggest starts and one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Since playing an integral role in the success of the icon entertainer, Childs has continued to work tirelessly behind the scenes to launch the careers of many struggling artists. Melvin has worked as a producer as well as executive producer on several of the biggest theatrical productions to tour the country, such as Love Jones, which I sing, the musical Barbershop, and The Thugs and the Women Who Love Them. He is also the author of a best-selling book, Never Would Have Made It, which chronicles the journey of the early years of working with Tyler Perry. He now serves as executive producer and producer for The Love of Money. His success has not come easy and not without some little controversy and stuff, but he has never given up and continues to push forward, which is why Melvin Childs is a hometown, homegrown, inspirational story that I want to share with you. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend from back in the day, Mr. Melvin Childs. What's up, bro?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
I'm glad that we caught you. I mean, you were, all over the country, everywhere. You still live here, but maybe you're not here, or I don't know.
I still live here. I'm here about 3 days a week, most of the.
That's not here, man. That's not here.
It's here for me. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, 3 days. 3 days is a weekend. That's a day. Right? That's it.
I love Oklahoma, so I don't see myself going too far away.
No. What do you think of this place, man? I've been here a couple of times now. What do you think?
It's amazing how far we've come. It's beautiful. Obviously a lot of time and energy and money came in to put this place together. I don't know. I can't say enough. It's great.
Yeah, you had the reaction as we walked in, just pretty much together. You had the reaction that most people do is like, how much did this cost?
Right. Well, it's funny. I didn't even realize that this was part of Millwood Schools, that we actually own this, because this was just a wooded area growing up. Matter of fact, they used to kick the footballs over the field goal post, and you used to
just lost.
Yeah, they were just gone because it was so thick. The woods were so thick out here, so it's just amazing to watch how this school has transformed so much over the years, and the job that Cecilia Woods is doing out here. I mean, it's just great. It's phenomenal. Excited.
Man. So that's why we wanted to do it here. It's because this is where we met. This is where we kind of kicked it, and so I wanted to have you out to talk about and introduce you to a part of the community that may not know you. I know we haven't talked. Right. 30 years.
Long time. Yep.
30 years.
Long time.
Right. But you don't get to keep up with me. I get to keep up with you because your name's is in lights and your name's is on.
I think you're doing a couple things, but okay.
I'm doing nobody knows me. Nobody knows me. But so catch us up. Tell us, speed up 30 years, man. Catch me up.
Man, that's tough, man. You know what? You want me to talk to you a little bit about what I've done since Millwood?
Well, here's the thing. Assume that nobody knows you. Who are you?
I'm just this guy that graduated from Millwood in '88. I've been working in the entertainment business for the most part since I got out of college, which is in '91.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to UCO. I didn't finish, but I went to UCO. And I decided to go to work for Russell Perry out of college, and I went to work in radio for 8 years there. And at that point in time, I was kind of learning how to be a promoter of shows and that kind of stuff. I would do a lot of the small stuff that came through, the jazz shows. And eventually I started doing some of the larger shows, and eventually it allowed me to meet a lot of the actual tour promoters from around the country. So I understood how talent moved around the country and how talent was gathered from promoters and that kind of stuff, and how they went out and did shows and made money. And then I just kind of embarked upon a plan to put my own little money together and start doing my first shows, and then I started doing bigger shows, and then I ran to a guy named Tyler Perry, and I started doing his stuff, and then the rest is history. I've been doing plays and that kind of thing ever since.
Well, you thought, now you have an eye for talent, but here's the thing you were telling me, you thought you had some talent. You thought you could sing.
Yeah, when I was younger.
And rap and do all that
I did
stuff.
all those things. I did the typical things that young people do. You always got dreams and aspirations, but sometimes reality hits you in the face.
Well, tell me about that. When reality said, this is not you, but this lane might be you.
Well, when I used to be a rapper, right? So I used to submit all these demo tapes back in the day. I guess that's what we did. We would send demo tapes to people that we would come across. And then I would always get this rejection. And I used to think my stuff was really, really good. But nobody else thought it. At least, people locally would think it was good, in my little circle, but, the national guys didn't think it was good. So I said, okay, I want to become one of the national guys that can turn people down. Right. I don't want to be the guy submitting. I want to be the guy that says no.
So there was motivation.
That was the motivation. I had to be that guy. And so, I started embarking upon that journey at that point in time, and going into radio and selling radio advertising for years and meeting all the promoters and producers. I got to start figuring out how they did what they did, and I just learned from them.
Right. So what's the next part? Should we talk about, I really want to know, before you got to the Tyler Perry relationship, you were doing this thing. What was it that Millwood did for you that you still lean on right now? Because this was small,
right.
Compared to the things you're in 750 theaters just with this one movie.
But see, Millwood was one of those places that gave you that self-esteem that you could conquer the world. They told you that. They built you like that. When you went to school here, it was like growing up on the east side of Oklahoma City and you being in this little small district. in the middle of the east side of Oklahoma City, and all the Oklahoma City public schools are all against you. You're always fighting against the odds because everybody, everybody got something to say, and you're thinking that you these, bougie kids or whatever you want.
Briefcase carrying.
Exactly. Cole Haan. That's what we were, and we were proud of that.
Yes.
We were very different and very proud and we wanted to continue that. And if you wanted to be in the streets and do those things like that, we wasn't no parts of that. We was gonna be bougie, for lack of a better word back then. And,
right.
And but we were just taught that that life's gonna bring you setbacks, but you just keep on. You just keep on.
Right. You hold your head high.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
We had pride. Our teachers had an abundance of confidence in us, and if they didn't let us know they didn't. Right. It was always,
And they cared. They seemed to care. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. But I'm a kid. I'm an adult now. But as a kid, I felt like our teachers genuinely wanted us to succeed, and they had a vested interest in our success.
Right.
So that was one of the things that has endeared me to the school my whole life.
I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, but who gave the worst swats at Millwood? Because I know you got your share.
Lee Stoback.
Mr. Stoback.
Yeah, before it's me, as I'm saying, the ones that I got. Yeah, Mr. Stoback probably. He was younger.
That was probably for not turning in a paper.
Of course.
It really wasn't.
I not turned in a lot of them. A lot. You know what I mean? So, but Mr. Stoback, he was younger then, so he wasn't much older than us. I don't know how old he is, but I think he's probably like 10 years older.
It's funny that you say that. Is we may have perceived him as an older person, but now looking back, it's like he was not that old.
No. He was a young. So he has a little.
This might have been his first teaching job.
Right, I think it was, but I think it might have been his only teaching job.
Really?
Because I think he retired from here. I'm pretty sure he retired from here. So I don't think this might have been his only teaching job. I'm not sure, but if anybody had went to school in my day, they would know that Mr. Stoback.
We need to figure out Mr. Stoback.
Yeah,
I agree.
He was pretty good as what?
He was good at that. He was good. But also you knew he cared too.
Absolutely.
Right, you knew he cared. Yep. Yeah. So now we're going off to do some movies and we're doing some entertainment. You wrote a book and you talk but you do address your relationship with Tyler Perry.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what to expect. For those that haven't read the book, tell us what's that like.
But dealing with Tyler?
Yeah.
Back then, it was fine. We were both kids, man. We were both the same age.
He talks about him struggling. He talks about sleeping in the car. He talks about being homeless, and everybody needs that one big break.
Well, Tyler was very much focused on what he was trying to accomplish, and so when you're young and you don't. At that point in time, we ain't know. We just all wanted to be what we were trying to be. So you make some mistakes, especially financially. We all did. You know what I mean? He didn't have a whole lot of support from his family members or just the general public in general, friends and that kind of stuff. Because that's what happens when you're chasing these dreams that other people don't seem to understand. I went through that with my own family, my own parents and mom. Said,
You're doing too much now.
Oh yeah, I get that now.
You're risking
I got
too
that
much.
yesterday.
Yeah. Right.
So, but that comes from a generation that's a little older than us, to where they were just happy with being able to have a job.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's when I hear all that, it doesn't bother me in the least bit because I understand where it comes from. But Tyler was probably one of the most. Or still is one of the most talented people I've ever met. You guys don't even know the half of how talented he really is. If you sit around him for 24 hours and you'll just be sitting there in awe of some of the things that come out of his mouth and the things that he comes up with in his head. Think about it. Most, probably 90-95% of the things that are coming out of Tyler Perry Studios now, he writes. So just think how much work that is.
Right.
He's a machine.
Right.
For me to have the ability to be able to work with him and help him advance that career to where it is today is one of the things I'm most proudest of.
Right, right. But it's also people don't recognize how much work that it takes for the producer or the other person, the other people, to get a career off the ground, even with that much talent.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a thankless job, but it just always has been, and that's just what it is. But at the same time, if you're pretty confident in who you are, I've never been the person that needed somebody to pat me on the back for anything. I can pat myself on the back. I'm good. You know what I mean? So I get my accolades by watching others succeed, and being able to do some things that other people can't do despite what people seem to try to tell me I think that I can't do. That's just me. I was just built that way. So I'm good with it.
You strike me, always have, is, and we talk about this, strike me is you can take a pretty big hit and keep moving forward. You can take a pretty big, what I might consider a setback, and might throw me back. It just seems to roll off your back. It just seems to roll off your back.
Well, I had to learn a long time ago that, life is going to give you those. And I've never been the kind to sit back and say, woe is me. Matter of fact, when I see people saying, woe is me, I have to ask those questions like, okay, well what you going to do? Even with my own kids, when they make mistakes and they come to me, crying or sad about some stuff, okay, well, what we going to do? We going to dwell on the problem, or we going to dwell on the solution? Which one we going to do? Yeah. And I'm just a solution kind of guy. And so I'm just always looking, when things get in my way or obstacles come in my way, I'm just trying to figure out how can I either jump this thing or tear it down. I'm going to do one or the other. And for me, the Lord has blessed me to be able to get through some things. So a lot of things that probably most people would have gave up a long time ago. But I've been blessed, and I just keep on moving forward.
What's the any regrets? Like, man, if I'd have known, I'd have done this differently. And then what's the message that you give our community, about building a career as successful as you've had in dealing with the setbacks? This is the one hurdle. If I'm about to start, you saying, Waylon, I made this mistake. Don't you do this?
I made a lot of them though. So I can't necessarily say that there's one in particular that I made that I could say for you not to do, because most of the mistakes I've made have always been lessons ultimately.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to. If I can get the lesson without the pain.
Without the pain.
Yes, you can help me with that.
I don't know what your issues may be. So my issues, especially being young in Oklahoma City, being in the middle of the United States, was one of them. Finances was another one. And so I probably took some roads back then that I probably wouldn't go through at this point, simply because of the positions that I put people that I love in. Okay. But at the same time, I got to be honest with you, I learned some really valuable, hard lessons. So I wouldn't encourage anybody else to go through that, but what I would say is that at the end of the day, no matter what it is, you're going to have to be able to be persevering and get through it. So you got to figure it out. You got to always figure it out. So you can't just give up and say, oh, well, it's me, let me just give up, because giving up is not an option, because you got to keep moving.
So financing, I imagine you got to have a lot of capital. Just to put a little thing together like this, there's a lot of equipment, there's a lot of
salaries,
people's and salary and venues and all that kind of stuff. How do you get, when you're young, without, and I don't know your family background, but it's probably pretty similar to my family background. Yeah. In fact, we probably need to talk more, because I think you have your family from Guthrie.
Yep.
My mother's from Guthrie.
Oh, really?
Right, and I don't think we ever talked about.
No, we never talked about.
If my mother's from Guthrie and your dad's from Guthrie.
My dad's entire family is from Guthrie. And
so my mother's entire family's from Guthrie. So we need to look. We need to ask your dad about singers and Doolittles. Okay. In Guthrie. So anyway, but we go back. I don't know the family background, but my parents didn't have the capital.
None of us did.
To put me up. to say, Dad, I got this dream, other than going to college, rather than go to OU.
Right.
I that this dream, and I'm going for it, and I need X amount of money. Mm-hmm. How do you deal with that financial startup situation, middle of the country?
Well, my financial situation and the things that the projects I was doing back then are a lot different than the ones I'm doing now. So let me just.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah, because
it's always a step.
20 years different.
Yeah. So the money's a night and day. I mean, even just the what we had to gather to put on a show, like to do a Tyler Perry tour back then. We started with $100,000. To do that same tour right now, you can probably have to have $500,000. So just because of inflation in the times and what things cost nowadays. And so with that being said, it's just I think the biggest thing that you can do is try to forge relationships with people that are maybe smarter than you.
You have problems with banks?
I don't have problems with them. I just think that
Then.
banks don't loan money on entertainment projects. It ain't happening.
It ain't happening.
You know what I'm saying? That just doesn't happen.
Then I don't understand how you get started.
And I'll tell you why. Because there's no collateral there. It's an entertainment project. You got some people singing on stage. At the end of the day, there's nothing for the bank to come in and take if it doesn't succeed. So you're gonna have to go to somebody that has some money and ask them to help you. Either that, or you're going to stack up your money as quickly as you possibly can. Somebody leaves you some money, inherit some money. Somewhere, but you know, when I was younger, though, to be honest with you, I was always involved with people that were pretty successful. Even just working at the radio station, a lot of times people come in and buy advertising with me that were successful people. You know what I mean? Then you meet some kind of people that you probably shouldn't be borrowing money from. You know what I mean? But that's the reality of the situation when I was younger. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you might take that chance. I did when I was younger. That's nowadays. I think we got a little bit more options than what we had before. We're probably not as financially savvy as I would hope that we would be. But you know that'll come in time. Yeah. And as long as we keep lifting each other up, we'll be all right.
Right. I don't even know so let's go to the director and the producer. What's the difference between the director and the producer? Who's the big dog, the director or the producer?
The producer.
The producer. Okay. Yeah. I knew
but it's different.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're talking about on a studio level, it's a little bit different as it relates to an independent film level. Sometimes a producer can just be money. Sometimes a producer can just be creative, or sometimes a producer can be a combination of both. In my situations, it's a combination of both, because I'm very, very hands-on and very, very intricately involved in the creativity that you see in what I do. Matter of fact, I'm probably a control freak to a certain extent.
So the idea, so if I have an idea for a movie or a play, I need to come to you, the producer, and say, here's the idea. I pitch it to you.
A little more in depth than that, and the reason why I say that, it's going to be a little more complicated than that, because an idea is just an idea, so that doesn't mean a whole lot. I got to be honest with you. Everybody got ideas, you know.
Okay.
But how do you implement that idea into, or how do you take that idea and put it into something that's tangible, like an actual script? And if you came to me and asked me to do that, I got to be honest with you. Your piece of the pie would be very little, because you came to me with a concept or an idea that I still had to shape. Now, if you brought me an actual script together and we decided, oh, we're going to work on the script, modify it a little bit and change it, that's one thing. But just an idea, that doesn't mean a whole lot. I'm just sorry. Most people tend to believe that if they have an idea, because I've heard this a million times, they don't get rich off an idea. It never happens. Yeah.
So my idea is, Melvin, I got this idea. You tell me if you think it's a pretty good idea. If you think it's a good idea, I'll go put it in a script.
Okay.
Then I'm still not worth very much.
Not yet.
Until I bring you.
Still got a ways to go. See, until you bring it to me, and then I look at it and I say, yeah, that's pretty dope. Let's do this. And then at that point, you become a partner with me and we figure it out together. But until then, no, this just doesn't mean much.
All right, tell me what you're looking for in the script. There's a whole lot of ideas here you just put into a script just now.
I don't know, man.
What do you need to look?
But I'm always looking for great stories. So, I mean, if you brought me one, I read it. I get them all the time. Unfortunately, sometimes most people's stories aren't as great to me as they are to them.
Of course.
Yeah, and so.
Of course. You thought you was a good singer.
Absolutely. When I was a kid, I thought I was Barry Manilow. But anyway, I quickly learned when I became an adult, and people was like, "Man, you can't sing."
Right.
My mom, number one, told me I couldn't sing.
Yeah. That was a hint. That was the first hint. Right.
So she's about the realest person as they come, boy, I tell you. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, talent is not something that everyone has, and that's okay. You know, I just got to be honest. And putting on productions at church and putting on production on a national level are just two different things. So oftentimes when you're doing entertainment things for family members, they tend to tell you, "Oh, baby, that's great." I'm not that way. So I have a little bit higher criteria, just like people in the NFL. You know, it's not Millwood High School, it's the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit, the bar's raised a little bit. And so I like to believe that what we do is in the big league. So if you come into the big leagues, you got to have your A game. And if you don't have your A game, unfortunately, I have to break your heart a little bit.
Right. Right.
That's just the business of it.
Is there and I'm curious about this, and you may not want to talk about it at all, but what's being an African American from the middle of the country in an industry where we don't see a whole lot of representation in the producing part? I mean, the biggest one that we know now that you got Tyler Perry Studios and Oprah Harpo Studios, those things. What's the challenge being a minority in the industry? What have you dealt with and how you overcome it?
I think the biggest challenge is listening to people or taking lessons from people who've never done it. We have a tendency as black folks to learn from our peers, but our peers will have no experience in this business. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't do that. I don't even understand that mindset. So oftentimes, there's times where I will have a conversation with somebody about this business and they will tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about because I told them that they don't know what they're talking about. And I have to let them, I'm one of the few people that are actually involved in every facet of what I do. It's not just about script writing. It's not just producing a show. It's not just producing a movie. It's not just about buying advertising, marketing pieces. I'm involved in everything by design because I'm a student of what I do. And so I would encourage anybody that wants to get in this business or any other business that you got to become a student first. And if you're not willing to be a student, if you kind of want to just halfway do it, that's okay, but your results are going to be halfway.
Are you talking about student like go to this school or that school, or just get your hands dirty?
That's one way. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Green Passer Studio and that kind. Yeah, they actually alpha class. That's one way. I could have did it. Mine been the school of hard knocks. You know what I mean? And not saying that everybody has to go that way or that's the way everybody should go or shouldn't, but that's just the way I got it. It's
right.
Trial and error. When I did this movie, it's my first movie. Never done it before. I welcome anybody to come out and watch this film and tell me what they think about it, but I like to believe that it's on par with any of them out there. Right. Because I don't settle for less. If it's wrong, then I'm going to figure out how to fix it, and I'm going to talk to somebody smarter than me.
Well, something must be right, because Byron Allen Media has picked up this movie, and I'm fascinated by how you get it on such a large scale, like 750 theaters across the country, all on one day or one weekend.
It comes out November 24th.
November 24th, yeah. Thanksgiving, which is a big release day.
Yep.
I mean, every year we get, and this movie is got some big names in it. Cat Williams has got some other ones. Name some other.
Kerry Hilson, DC Young Fly, Rotimi.
Yeah.
Keith Sweat. Missing somebody. Jason Mitchell. Life Jennings performs in it. Mulatto's raps in it. I'm missing somebody. I don't know who it is.
Oh, they'll get you.
Yeah,
they'll
right.
Get you.
Right. I don't know. But that's for the most part. That's the most of the cast.
How do you get that? Do you go after those names first, and then you get the Byron Allens? You get the Byron Allen first, and then you get those people.
I mean, you could. How
does it go?
When you say the Byron Allens, excuse me, Byron is a distribution company, so you have to know how films are done. Okay, so I am, for all practical purposes, the studio. Okay. So we build the project and then we go out to distributors to either do one or two things, to either sell it to them directly or enter in some kind of partnership agreement with them to move this thing across the country. Which in that case we have a partnership. But we built it first. I got all kind of flack. Everybody in this entertainment business, everybody got all the answers. It's crazy. Yeah. But when I was casting all the people that I was casting, everybody told me I was crazy. It was overkill. Kevin Perry by then told me I was crazy. He said, man, I sat there and looked at you when you were casting. He's like, man, why you spend all that money? I said, Kevin, think about it, man. If I'm able to accomplish the things that I'm trying to accomplish, if I put up together a movie, it could be the greatest movie in the whole wide world. But if I just got me and my friends that are good actors in it, who's going to pay attention?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's okay, but when you start talking about the kind of money that's involved in a movie, it's okay for me to go overboard a little bit, because if it works, the flip side of that is that money's there and it's not a problem. So I went a little bit overboard with the cast. Right. I didn't, but I just envisioned all those people and all these characters that are in this movie. Each and every one of them I envisioned and they all said yes. There's nothing but God, man. It's just amazing how, you say, okay, man, I'm telling you, Carrie Hilson would be good in this role. I think. She ain't never played a leading role, but if she did, she would kill him because she's so pretty and so she has this seductive nature to him, but at the same time, she also has a kind of feel that that's relatable, and so and she kills it, by the way. So anybody watching this right now, I'm telling you, go see Carrie Hilson in this movie. Y'all will be shocked. She kills it.
Right.
And she's probably, you're gonna see her in a way you've never seen her before.
Was this the one filmed downtown?
Part of it was filmed
downtown in the studio in the old Myriad.
No. We didn't film in there. That's Prairie Surf. We didn't film there.
Okay.
We filmed. Excuse me. We filmed in a nightclub because the backdrop is the Carrie Hilson's character works in a nightclub, and so we filmed at Symphony, and Club Symphony is owned by the Burtons, which are also Millwood Falcon.
Another
Trey
Millwood Falcon.
Burton, yeah,
bring it back home. Yeah.
So,
could have filmed in my backyard too. Right?
I didn't know. I didn't know. My bad. Next time. But so we shot most of the club scenes there. Well, all the club scenes there, and then we shot a few scenes in Atlanta. And then there were about another 6 different locations in and around Oklahoma City that we shot in.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. So tell me what's going to happen with this release? Is this how do you know it's successful? How do you know? Do you already know because it's going to be released? That's done and we're on to the next project?
For me, my work is almost done. We're going on a premiere tour where we actually take the talent out across the country and we do these premieres in these major cities, and we start that Monday, next Monday. And we start in Chicago. And so what we do is we do like essentially what we're doing here this Saturday on the road.
So talk about what's happening this Saturday.
This Saturday is the premiere. We're doing the actual premiere of the movie. It's unfortunately I can't let all Oklahoma City in. I don't want to talk about time when it started and that kind of stuff, or even where it's at this point, because I've been so inundated with people asking me for tickets. It's been ridiculous, and I appreciate all the love, but I only have so many seats.
You only got so many
I
seats?
got 100 people in the crew. So,
right.
I mean, if they bring in their spouses or significant others, that's 200 right there, you know what I mean? So it's kind of tough to accommodate as many people that would like to come, but I just can't. So, but I would be happy if you guys would go out and support it on Thanksgiving when it actually comes out, and you actually go buy a ticket. But this is completely free on Saturday. And this is a lot of my friends and some of the people that worked on this project to kind of celebrate ourselves for a minute and kind of smile and for them to see.
This is the red carpet deal.
Yeah. But most of them haven't seen it. So only I and me and my assistant are the only people that deal with the post house directly. And
haven't seen the full product.
Yeah, nobody's seen that. But
will the actors themselves be here?
Yes. But
that's why
they haven't seen it. They haven't seen
wants
it.
to go.
Yeah. I understand. But
right.
but it's just only so many seats to go around in the theater. So sorry.
That's it. Well, congratulations on that. Is there any way or any message? Since we're at Millwood right here, is there a message that we need to be giving to the young people about where they are today? Because I'm sure when you were, we weren't in this building at all. This was, like we said, field. But when we were back in that building over there, did you ever imagine that you would be where you are today? Man, I tell you, that's crazy. Yeah, because I had these dreams when I was a kid. Okay, let's talk about dreams. Let's talk about tell these kids. So I did. Some of them are, So I did. So and I'm sure that all you kids out there that are maybe listening, you got those same kind of dreams, and people, as you get older, they're gonna try to deter you, no matter what. But you have to be true to yourself, and you got to know who you are and hold your head up high and be confident in your own abilities. But you're gonna have to work hard too if you're gonna try to accomplish them. It's not gonna be easy. So if you're gonna try to shut up them naysayers, then I suggest you go to work. But you're gonna have to be a student. You have to find people that are smarter than you. I often tell people all the time, I try to be the dumbest person in the room. Amen. Yeah. If you find yourself being the smartest person in the room, you need another room. You need another room to get in. You really do. You know what I mean? And it's okay. I don't apologize for that. I just love being around intelligent people that can educate me and make me smarter. And if some of us would just adopt that same philosophy, I think they'll be able to achieve the same things as I have. Here's where me and you really agree, is we were talking back and forth about what we might talk about today. We got into some great conversation about success and the keys to success. And a lot of people might say the way you invest your money is a key to success. They may be being a student of this particular thing or that thing. We've touched on all of those. But what me and you really agree on is it's relational.
Yep.
Yeah, talk about the key to success. You've always fall back that this is a relational thing. It's relationships.
Everything. That's it.
Why? When I help them understand.
Because when I've been at my lowest point, and I've been there, probably worse than most of y'all could imagine, because some of the things that I've tried to do have been really lofty. So when I'm falling or when I lose big. I'm not talking about no $100 loss.
Yeah.
We're talking about millions at some point.
Right. Well, we said you said that, and I think it's important because you have kids here to get their names in the paper, and they get a lot of accolades, and they get some D1 looks, and they get some scholarships from different schools for academics and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But the bigger you get, the more accolades you get, the more stones are thrown at you.
Absolutely.
Right. And you've had them.
Yeah, absolutely. But you have to condition yourself to be able to handle that, and you have to still maneuver around that to forge relationships with people that are always in your corner and trying to help you to grow. So, because when I have been at my lowest, the only thing that I could do is ask somebody to help me. If I didn't have anybody to help me, then I would probably still be in that same position. So I knew that at a young age. So even when I was young, I was always nurturing relationships. If I messed up, if I screwed up, I would try to fix it. You know what I mean? And oftentimes we tend to think that it's us against the world, and that is an absolute wrong way to think.
Right. Right.
We need the world.
My guess is not only did you have people when you're at your lowest point, right? The people that support you, that number gets really, really thin when you're at your low part. But at the same time, you tap into your faith a little bit.
Yep.
Talk about how your faith has grown as you go through the ups and downs of trying to reach success.
Well, my faith was always there. So even when I'm going through my lowest points, I always knew that those were just lessons I was supposed to get. People a lot of times will try to, talk about me and Tyler Perry's success versus my success, and I tell them all, I've never had to want for anything. So Tyler has nothing that I don't have. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have a reason to be envious. You know what I mean? And so, but that comes from my faith in God and knowing that I was supposed to be that stepping stone for him, and being comfortable with being that stepping stone.
Being who you are.
Exactly.
Your role is what it is.
That's what it was. That's what it's supposed to be. And even to this day, I try to be a stepping stone for others. I'm always hiring people with no experience, or always trying to give somebody a shot to work for me and do things for me, because I know what that's like to trying to ascend to a certain degree, and not knowing where to start. So I try to show people, well, here's a place you can start. So with that being said, I know that there's a certain anointing on me. I know that God is blessing me in tremendous ways. I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be having this conversation. I'm a first-time movie maker, and I went theatrical in the middle of a pandemic, and been able to go all the way across the country. I don't know. It got to be God, because how else did that happen? I don't know anybody else that's happened to.
No, man. I'm glad you acknowledge your faith in that success. How does the Oklahoma City, I know Northeast Oklahoma City for sure. I know Millwood for sure. But I believe that Oklahoma wants to support you. How do we support a hometown guy like you that's doing things all over the country? What's the best way for us to support what you're doing, and how to get
see that movie and tell somebody about it. Share it on your social media pages and try to convince others to go. I promise you I'll pay it forward. Right. But that's it. I mean, and hopefully that'll allow me to be able to do some other things and create some more jobs for people in this city and keep moving forward. That's all I could ask. I appreciate it.
Man, I enjoy the catch up. I enjoy that we got to do it here. Thanks for the superintendent of the schools, Miss Cecilia Robinson Woods, for
Yep.
for always opening up the doors for conversations with Cubit. Send us your go see the movie. It opens up November 24th. I'm going to try to get me a ticket to the premiere on Saturday because I know somebody needs security. I know people need security. I know. There's got to be some kind of way a guy with my credentials can.
I think I can make that happen. One way.
That's right. That's it for Conversations with Cubit, man, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.